Okay, as predicted, I ended part 2 of this release day streaming series, and within 5 minutes, Logic Pro 11 had been released. I literally just got home and sat down 3 minutes ago, and I clicked on the update button, and it's already done updating. It was the fastest update I've ever had, very fast. And so we're going to click open. I've already seen a few things in the release notes that weren't announced. We just had the big announcements that are going to blow us away. So I'm very excited about this. And there are some things that maybe you didn't even know were coming, but that were coming. And so here's our first page here. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to click continue. And it looks like right off the bat, the acoustic and electronic drums are almost 4 gigs. Studio basses are almost 6 gigs. And the studio pianos are almost 4 gigs. It's interesting that the basses are bigger than the pianos. I'm just going to have that go in the background. And this page looks very similar, but now we have a new demo project, Ellie Dixon Swing. It looks like the Take a Day Trip from Manzana is still there. Move that over to the side. Let's just do a blank one for a moment. Check one. Okay, am I back? Okay, I might be back. Every time I turn on Logic, it messes up the streaming stuff because it takes over the audio unit input for a minute. And let's just make sure I've got some sound happening in the right place. Okay, that looks right. So there's a lot to look at. We're going to do the full release notes later. Let me see if I can see. Oh, we're still getting the download of the essential session player sound libraries. Does anybody have any issues downloading? Let me know in the chat. I mean, I'm in the browser over here, so this is the thing. The browser is the same as far as I can tell. Nothing looks different with the browser. Just FYI. Which means like I'm going to open up an EQ for a second. Click here for the EQ. I mean, nothing's changed with that. I don't think I can do any searching for plugins. Oof. Let's do just the thing. So everybody make a list. And if I don't see it right off the top, then you'll be able to ask questions, but just say it again if you don't see something. So let's go into the mixer for a second. The mixer looks about the same. That does look the same. I'm going to make an audio track because I heard in the brief notes that maybe we could be routing some things differently. Input 10. I just want to get a blank input. So we're going to have to explore this a little bit, but that looks all the same. I need to enter system password to do the installation of those instruments. MIDI routing, baby. That's what Maddie Wen says. and it looks accurate. So let's actually pull open this thing for a moment. The What's New in Logic Pro, which is not the full list, but we'll go to the full list here. And I don't want to necessarily go through. Oh, really? That's maybe the wrong thing. Oh, maybe it was in there. No. So I saw this. I don't want to necessarily pull up the whole list right now. But under the App Store, this is what they're saying just in the basic list, which is all the session players, the sound library, play any 6 deeply sampled acoustic, electric basses, blah, blah, blah. Those are the same thing. New demo track, spatial audio. There was 2 enhancements. Bounce in Place adds automatic real-time recording for external instrument regions. That's actually a big deal. And the MIDI generated by supported software instruments and effects can be routed to the input of other tracks for creative layering during playback or recording. You have to explore that one. And then edit efficiently using key commands for moving, extending, or resizing marquee selections. Okay, that's all fine. So I'm looking, check the color palette is another request. I'm in the Finder. Let me do this. Colors. I'm going to take a guess in the dark here. And we're going to look at, oh my gosh, where is it? Show colors. It's over in the other one. So that looks the same, just FYI. I don't see really any differences in terms of the user interface. Some different icons for the buttons, but all of that looked the same. Let's see, have they updated controller assignments or the ability to have a universal smart control instead of having them be copied to each individual controller assignments? Let's just open up control surface settings. I'm going to have to look through all of that in a little bit. But this dialog looks exactly the same for the most part. We'll see. It looks the same. We're going to get to some sounds in just a minute. Chord track. Yes, let's look at that for a moment. Here's the chord track. I mean, why is my tempo track so massive? They're all resizable, readjustable. Here's the first chord. Oh, so it actually plays a sound. I don't know if you could hear that. Oh, you could. Okay. Of the chord. And it's just playing a piano sound, even though I don't have a piano loaded. Here's. Okay, interesting. And then it goes up to first 8 bars. We'll explore that more in just a minute. Other questions. The chord track, we're going to look at that in a little bit more detail. Looking through all the comments. Okay, so let me, for a minute, load an instrument. Let's see. I'm going to see if any of the other instruments have been updated at all. We're just going to go with some of the old school ones. Look at the Ultra Beat. So that's a no on Ultra Beat interface updating. ES1 was never going to be updated, just so you know. It can't be. It's like a museum piece now. But I was at some point thinking that one might. We're going to do, so they're called Studio. So we have Studio Bass, Studio Horn, Studio Piano, Studio Strings. I wonder if the Studio Strings will follow the chord track when it's doing anything. If it can. It didn't talk about that, but it's there. So Studio Bass. Okay, and with that Studio Bass, just before we start listening to things, I want to just check a couple of the plugins that I've always liked and see if they've done anything with them. The multipressor has not changed. And let's do imaging stereo spread has not changed. I mean, what the heck? Come on, update some of those plugins. I doubt there's ghost notes. They didn't do anything else new. So there's no way that they added ghost notes. There's like a 0% chance. Hope we can import MIDI into the Chord track. It says there's a MIDI input thing, but I don't know about dragging it. I doubt this. I mean, the samplers was relatively new, so I think they're not doing much with that. Oof. So what we're going to do, let's start it now, I guess, because I feel like I don't want to do too, I mean, I was going to wait and do it later, but let's do it now with the release notes themselves and see if they've actually put them out. So let's look at the release notes and see what else we have added on here. So this top area here is all straight ahead. I'm going to look at ChromaGlow in a minute. And it has an asterisk there. So I'm assuming the asterisk, let's go down and just see what the asterisk means first, so we know what we're actually dealing with here. I think that's the one that says it's the silicon only. But of course, they have an asterisk, and they don't actually say what the asterisk is. Okay, cool. They left off that kind of important thing. We'll look at the stem splitter in just a minute. The session players are in both 6 deep. Okay, so loops that contain chord tags will automatically populate the chord track when added to a project. That's important if we're using chord or loops that have chord tags. 3 new producer packs came out: the Hardwell, the Count, Corey Wong. Original new demo, down mix and trim options allow custom mixing for non-Atmos channel configurations. So that was one of the Atmos things. Bounce in place, already looked at. Route MIDI signals generated by supported software. That supported thing is the question mark as to what that means exactly. So we're going to have to figure that part out a little bit. Inputs of other tracks. Probably still just MIDI and instrument tracks, though. Edit more efficiently using key commands. The nudge, the transpose region, pattern. So those are all just like key commands and controls. Pattern regions can now be created on drummer tracks, and drummer regions can be converted to pattern regions. Okay. New key commands include some new key commands. Bounce in place and track freeze can now be performed in real time, allowing for use of external instruments, I/O plugins, and external inserts. That's a huge deal for people who use external things. That's a big deal. Mastering assistant analysis can now be performed in real time, allowing for use in projects that incorporate external I/O or instruments. I mean, how is that not included in the first one was a question I always had. So yay for that. And then the Dolby Atmos plugin now offers downmix and surround height trim controls. Oh, that's where the asterisk went to. It's right there. Requires a Mac with Apple Silicon. And that on this list was just the ChromaGlow. Nothing else had that in this list. And then the recent projects list can now be configured to show 50 projects. Sweet. Okay, so this is a huge list of things. Stability and reliability. Scripts with 1,071 characters or more in Scripter no longer cause Logic Pro to quit unexpectedly. I never had that problem. Fixed an issue with creating an event and a lane assigned to a note and a step sequencer. Okay. So these are going to be like all the now no longer crashes, no longer crashes, no longer crashes. We're going to skip all the rest of those for the moment. Performance. The UI is now more responsive when adjusting flex pitches directly on regions in deviation mode. Awesome. Performance is improved when editing transient markers and take regions with flex enabled. So they're still working on flex stuff, just for the record. Every time we get an update, they're making these improvements, which are things that sometimes make it sound worse, but now they'll sound better. Sometimes functionality is just going to work better. Performance is improved when making flex pitch edits in track areas with a large number of selected regions. Alchemy performance is improved. Performance is improved when moving regions and projects with a large number of tracks and regions. Projects containing a large number of flex pitch regions now open more quickly. And then resolved an issue where loading a project saved with summing track selected. That seems pretty esoteric. Look at all of the voiceover changes and additions. It's not as many as probably those who need voiceover would prefer, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those. And I don't know which of those are going to be the most important to know about, but at least they're making some changes there. 1, 2, 3, 6 different things with spatial audio. There's now a 5.1.2 monitoring option, which is nice to have the 5 and then the verticals as well. All that stuff looks pretty okay. Session players resolves an issue where loading a user-created drum machine designer patch could set the input bus to fail. Okay. And then using the create drummer region command in a marquee selection now creates a region that corresponds to the marquee. Okay, cool. 3 different things with the smart tempo. Awesome. Recording, audio regions recorded to unnamed tracks now include the project name and a track number in their name. I guess that's useful. Okay, let's see how many things we have in the mixing track here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things with the mixing track. The channel strip, stereo pan control, and the pan menu can now be adjusted when caps lock is enabled. Ooh, that's amazing that wasn't working apparently. Multi-timbral software instrument in the new track sheet. Oh, no longer creates 2. Okay. Cool. Resolves another issue with the multi-timbral software instrument track. Adjusting the activity status of a speaker in the surround panel no longer causes the signal to unexpectedly mute. I actually did experience that one recently. Man, I'm going to skip the rest of those. They're fixes, but they're not anything major, it looks like. Alchemy. There's a wide unison mode. I'm going to want to check that out. I love unison mode. And having it be something called wide sounds interesting. Okay, just basic alchemy fixes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different quick sampler, and quick alchemy fixes. Okay. All of that looks pretty small fish. The MIDI scripter plugin now shows in Logic Pro when running in dark mode, fixes an issue where clicking on a sampled IR in Space Designer could activate synthesize IR mode unexpectedly. They're still working on Space Designer, and every once in a while we see an impulse response utility update. That I love that they're still working on some of those things which they could have just ignored at some point. So that's good. A lot of different plug-in things, but all relatively small from what I can see. Let's see. Okay, mastering assistant, 3 fixes there. No longer unexpected latency with bounces from projects that use the clean. Great. And then there's another one. No longer incorrectly triggers. It's projects that contain no regions. And then mastering system no longer allows the -1 dBFS peak limit to be exceeded in certain cases. I did hear a number of those situations, but never experienced it. Man, this is like a bug. This should be, I'm going to say this out loud. This feels a lot like Logic Pro 10.9. Just adding some new instruments and plugins, which could have been done with third-party solutions. I mean, they didn't add any core functionality differences. Not really so far. Automation. I'm going to see if there's anything that sticks out as super important. Because all that stuff just looks like basic small fixes to people who are having relatively niche issues. 3 things for flex and time. Flex time and flex pitch, I mean. Yeah. Takes and comping. Woohoo! Fade ins are now applied when flatten and merge is performed on comps. I guess it wasn't before. And then renaming a take. No, it changes the file name. Whoa. Comps. Okay, all small. Track stacks. 4 different fixes for that. Looks pretty basic stuff. 2 different track alternative fixes. 2 selection-based processing. Selection-based processing on a comp now retains the comp. Okay, cool. Using selection-based processing on a marquee section within a take folder. Okay. I wish they were adding like a history for that so you could undo it at some point. But nope, they didn't add any of the cool features there. 5 different things for the score, which all look relatively nothing. Live loops. Some things now work as expected. A bunch of fixes here, but none of them look amazing. MIDI. There's now an internal MIDI in setting in the track inspector to allow for recording MIDI from any other software instrument or external MIDI track. I think that's what they've been talking about with that one feature. We'll have to see if that's useful, because it looks like we're still not getting any of the MIDI effects on audio tracks. So, yay. So the new MIDI, internal MIDI in, that's the thing. So they just added a internal MIDI pipeline between tracks, but not with, we'll see if that's anything to do with audio, but I doubt it. Editing, there's a number of things here. Okay, step input, global tracks, share and export, import. I'm just doing a quick cursory look here. Video support, a secondary screen that is running a full screen video with show animations off will no longer remain black. Okay. Some key commands, some compatibility. Logic Remote immediately updates to show. Okay, this is all so small. General stuff. I'm going to have to look through this a little closer. This is obviously the first time I'm seeing this stuff, but I'll have to go through these ones. I'm going to tell you. Logic Pro 10.9. Yay. Let me go in here real quick. Sound library. Let's open the manager. Select all uninstalled. So those are the new ones. Let's install those. Let's get them down so I get them all. Okay, so we have the bass player here. Classic. And I'll be doing more with these in a bit, but actually what I want to do is not start with that. I want to start with the drummer track first. Drummer. Okay, first and foremost, acoustic drummers. Everything looks almost identical. Let's pull this up. And maybe I'll pull myself over and down just a little bit so it's just out of the way. Wow, I just made that bigger and that whole thing just stayed the same size right in the middle. It's like, use the space. Read the room. I mean, what the heck? Can't make it bigger, I guess. So we have our style. And they all look the same. So rock, I just went through these the other night. There are no new drummer styles as far as I can tell. I mean, really? No new styles, huh? Let's just do a little bit of loop-de-loop here on the drums. What are the details? So there's ghost notes with this, snare automatic, percussion turned off, hi-hat. So here's something that I wish I could demonstrate, but they made this a little harder to use. Like before, I could choose which of the other things, if I wanted claps or shakers or tambourines, just by clicking on the little icon. Now I have to go to a different page and go to a drop-down menu. I feel like they've actually made it harder. And then these are just the patterns, which shows us, but did we need to do it that way? Yeah, so far, by the way, this is the exact same thing. This is the exact same drummer. I see a humanized button, so we can humanize it a little bit. And there's this dynamics button, which is interesting. I think they added a couple small little things, but for the most part, I still can't have them do like a tom and a hi-hat pattern intermix with each other. You have to choose which one you're getting. There's the swing. There's this amount, which gives us a percentage, but I can click on it at least. Let's do one thing real quick with this, just because this is a question I had. We're going to touch mode this thing. And then, no, there's no automation of that. Let me see if I have any. So here's something new. So they've changed the drummers a little bit. I've noticed a sound difference. And that I was wondering how much of that was I imagining or not. So we have EQ on there, which that EQ curve is, it's like a rookie curve in some ways. We have a limiter on this drummer, no compressor at all. But then we have the new ChromaGlow built in. I did not want to do that. We have a new ChromaGlow on the drummer track. So they're trying to make the drum sound better by putting that new thing on there. But otherwise, everything about this drummer track is like the same. Let's do a convert real quick to MIDI region. And real quick before we move on, SoCal, let's do the SoCal Plus. SoCal. I did not mean to do Speakeasy. SoCal. Okay, so that's one example. The drummer track is almost identical to what it was before. For better or worse, it really is almost identical to what it was. And I just loaded that bass player on there, but I think I have to actually do the new player track. So we have to do it this way, not just loading up that thing, which is fine. So with this, I mean, it's doing one note only. We can do some notes. I'm not positive which part of this is AI. According to them, I think it's the tempo analysis, so that it's playing back tempo based and that it's going off the chord track, but none of that is none of it's generative. And we didn't think it was going to be clear. Nobody said this is generative AI for the bass. But this is all just like MIDI stuff. So, I mean, convert this to a MIDI region, right? There's your bass part. Let's undo it. Dead note, slides. A lot to look through with this. We'll see just how much is coming with it. I haven't actually read many of the comments because I'm kind of digging into this a little bit. Man, those fills that they're doing like at the end there, that sounds a little bit funky. Not funky in a good way, funky in a moldy way. I mean, that's not how a bass player sounds when they play that. Does anybody here listening to that think that's what a bass sounds like when you play it like that? Interesting. Okay, let's do the last one real quick. Keyboards. We'll figure it out when we get out of here. So there's a lot to dig in with this stuff. And here's the thing. Everybody ready for the thing? This thing called Freely. And there's broken chords, block chords, arpeggiated, and simple pad. Right? Freely has, as far as I can tell, 6 little patterns. Now, granted, let's go in here to the chord thing. I had it be a C minor 7, 9, 11 chord, right? Okay, maybe not the right thing. We'll do that. What the? Gosh, I think I'm going to poke my eyeballs out. Vintage upright. Now, granted, I'm just dealing with this for like a few minutes. I put a C chord in. I don't know what I was expecting. Let's try a gentle ballad. The drums sound actually decent. This whatever I'm doing here sounds so bad. AI. What is the AI part of this? I don't know. I actually can't tell you. Let's move this over here just a little bit. And I want to do a adapt, maybe. I can't do it with that. I forgot. Okay, so why do I have so much latency that it's impossible to play? Maybe because I'm on a live stream? I shouldn't be. I play on a live stream all the time. There's like just an unnervy small amount of something happening with that. Let's see. Let's see if it actually got my tempo right. I played something off the cuff. That looks really accurate for what I played. So maybe there's some deep under the hood improvements with the adapt tempo functionality. So now it's going to be a lot better. Everyone looks like they're helping each other out in terms of what plugins are working and which ones aren't. The piano that was just being played was me, not the one. This is the one from AI. I don't know. It's like I need to do some more complex chords and things. I wonder if in the chord structure here, I don't know. I just don't know enough yet about that. We're going to have to do some major looking. Can I drag it up into there? I mean, I just did, but did it work? So let's add a pencil tool. Oh, not a drums. I didn't want drums. What the crap? I'm drawing on the bass track. Why am I not getting a bass? We'll copy it over. So I'll have to figure that out. I don't know if that just worked or not. Let's just do it, have bass note, roots note only. Nope, so it didn't, I couldn't just drag the MIDI up into the chord thing. That would have been too easy to set those up. Let's try one of the other things that I know everybody's interested in, which is, let's do a stem extract. Oh, I left it in adapt. Great. Okay, cool. Split. No. Where are we looking at here? Stem splitter. It's under the processing menu when you right click on it, if you have that set up that way. I'm going to just have those split out. Let's see how long it takes. Theoretically, it's happening on my box. It doesn't have to get uploaded anywhere. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. So this is maybe the wrong way to do this since I'm in another session with just junk in there. I just grabbed one of my songs. So I guess I'll play just a little bit of what this sounds like. I look out. No, that's not a good song to have done with that. That's like an old, well, maybe that is. That is a very old song. That was recorded just with like a little cassette thing. I mean, got rid of the voice. That's like the pedal of the piano. And then here's the voice.
Of things past gone and things which have not yet begun.
That does not sound good.
And here we go again, chasing the world around and circles chasing you.
Okay, let's get a real song. That's maybe an example of like a memo type thing. That was not even a stereo recording, I don't think. Let's delete all of those and find something else that's bounced. That has like drums and things. I can't put on, copyrighted material, especially on a live stream. So I'm not going to, but let's see. We'll try that one. On a rainy day, in the middle of our rain, a journey that... But imagine you're using this with whatever song you want. We'll split it and see how it goes. Began months ago. Now it's time to see it through. As you know, we... Okay, so it sounds about the same as I've used with other splitters. It's not bad. It's not great. It's in the middle. So take that for what it's worth. For what it's worth. Come on, give me... Can I not hit delete and just delete tracks anymore? It wouldn't let me delete them with stuff in it. It didn't even give me an option. So I don't know if that's a bug now. So some instruments. And that's cool. Let's do a new tempo set. And let's delete all of this stuff. And it's like I need to come through and actually do some chord work to get like actual chords that I might want to use. MIDI input. Let's take off that bass. And it's doing it for 8 bars at a time. I wonder if I can get it to do it for less than that. So the chord track. Does it have a... the ability to make it shorter? Let's do MIDI input. And I'll do like a song... Right, so that's D minor, but I don't want it to be. Why is it doing it? What the crap? How come? Do I have to cut them? I'm going to have to read the manual, I guess. I can't make this stupid thing shorter than 8 bars. Let's see if I did. It's changing the whole thing. You can't make a song that has 8 bars of one chord. Okay, so I'm right-clicking on it. Here's some additional information. Right-click, chord progression. So I can do chord progressions within that, and then I can change them. That is so non-intuitive. It comes in 8-bar chunks, but I can't. C, G. They may have just made one of the hardest. I don't know how the other software solutions are, but they just made a really hard chord progression tool to use. I can't make it longer than 8 bars. I can't make it shorter than 8 bars. I can just do these like presets that are inside here. Ungroup chords. So those were all grouped together. So I guess I can make them shorter, but I can't make it longer. Edit chord. There's no length ability. This is going to be like a definite manual read, I guess. Have chord rhythm, double chord rhythm. And then there's like a, this is my favorite, the tools menu right down there. Can I make that one have that many inside? No. Okay, I don't have any clue what's happening with that. I do know we'll do a bass. And then I added a little plus on each of these things, and it just did drums for each one of them. This has got to be one of the worst rollouts of AI I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, why if I'm on the Studio Grand and I click the little plus thing, I created it through the actual menu, it's still bringing up drums. How do I even get this to create that? Pencil tool is just going to make drums, I bet you. Drums, drums, drums. I'm on the piano track. Watch, as you're all watching other videos today, and they pretend like everything's going well. Oh, I didn't see, I really haven't been watching all of the chat. So Dr. Voodoo, if you said that. I did talk about it earlier, but so it looks like right this moment, I have to do a new keyboard player. And I would have to do, so I have to do a new bass player to get that to work. Yay, Logic. And we're going to listen to this chord progression it gave me. And then it doesn't even pick up the first notes of it on the loop, like every time Logic has ever done that. Can't even play the first notes of a loop. That's like a thing that we've had in Logic forever. I don't know why that they can't manage that part. But they can't. Broken chords. Okay, so another thing that you can tell a lot by an instrument. So that's the bass as the default. I'm going to turn off the bass amp, the compressor, the graphic EQ, the fat effects, the ChromaGlow, and the limiter. It's like a weird resonance to that. I wonder what the graphic EQ is doing. Yeah, it's like the 500 hertz. They recorded it and had to immediately pull out almost 12 decibels of 500 cycles. Thank you. Maybe you should have re-recorded it instead of... Let's see if I can do some drive with this. Bypass, no. High cut, low cut. A lot of cutting. But can I make it boost? I still don't get the part. I still don't get the part where this is like some AI thing. I know that there's not AI, not everything that's AI has to look flashy. I mean, there's probably parts of this that they're like, the way that they're communicating with each other and playing off of each other, and you change one, then it changes the other things. Sure, I get it, but it's just, I don't think anybody who is concerned about music ending because of this needs to be worried about it, because it's just not going to be killing music at all for a moment. Now, that being said, I do want to see, for instance, there's a lot of unevenness with that. I hit certain notes and it sounds like a different bass player for a minute. Pick. Maybe we should be looking at the CPU meter here for a minute. And I'm assuming we can't click on the actual bass and change anything. It's just graphics. It sounds fine. It sounds okay. And we have a few of these. So some definite choices. This sounds fine. Ooh, look at all the articulations that come with it. That's why it sounds like there's a lot. Okay, so these instruments, I'm going to say, well, so far, I'm not super thrilled with some of the way that the actual auto bass player works. It's going to be interesting to mess with all the articulations. They clearly made some complex instruments here. But you set up a bunch of parameters and it just plays the exact same part over and over and over again. That's what point someone just made in the chat. Ooh, my CPU meter is definitely going insane a little bit. Let's see if I push play. Okay, so here's something I would always do before with drums, or with the drummer track before. I would lay out the verse, the chorus, and the bridge, all of that stuff. So let's do the drummer track with that new thing. And it's doing all the parts. Looks like it's not... I mean, chords, I'd have to put the chords in, I guess. But let's do a bass player and see if it actually does for all the different parts. It does, but I don't know what chords it's following. Let's have it do the keys as well. And see if any of those line up. So it will work once I put the chords in. It does change styles for each of the parts of the song. So they're all tied into the arrangement track. There's a lot to unpack with all of this. Native Instruments, maybe having some issues. Thanks, Timo, for pointing that out. So what are you asking? How to split stems? So you load up your audio file and then you right click and there's a process menu. If you have the extended, if you have the extended right click ability, I always do, where is that? Settings. When I do the right mouse button, I have open tools and shortcut menu. That's just me. Right click, go to processing, and it'll say split stems. Digital Performer is always great. I thought it was really complicated to use. But once you mastered it, you could do so much with it. So I'm going to go through at some point and look at all the settings and see which things, if there's anything new with settings. Whew. Record, 32-bit float, all the merging stuff looks the same. I don't think the score editor is probably any different. Man, and then the MIDI, or then the Logic version for iPad. I have a lot of questions about that I even haven't had time to go through. I did go through near the beginning of this video the release notes for this version of Logic, and there's a lot of fixes. And then someone just asked again if I'm changing the name of the channel, and I'm not, because I have a feeling we're going to be longing for the days when Logic Pro 10 was around. I might change it at some point. I don't know. I've thought about it. Not there yet. Oof, I don't see. So I need to read a lot. I'll read the whole manual at some point in the next 24 hours. MIDI input. The Logic Pro Virtual in. I thought we already... big question, I guess. Let's do a big question mark for a second. I'm opening up my CS12, Nectar CS12 to see if it works. Apparently I'm about to turn it back off. Because it is not recognized. Woohoo! That will come. One more time, have an audio file loaded. So say, let me just do a quick bounce in place real quick for that. Right, so I've got this audio file. Right click if I have the tools set up, or control click, and then under processing, there's a stem splitter. And we'll try that real quick too. So someone's asking about the wide mode, whatever that means for unison on Alchemy. Alchemy looks the same. Let's do a file, initialize preset, saw. Let me think about that for a second. We'll do ultra mode. Everything else looks about the same. So unison, where is, I guess I don't know where. Where would the wide mode be? I don't know. Good question. Maybe it just sounds different. That could be. It could be when I go up to 16 notes in the unison that it's fine or something. But I'll have to explore because they made a point of talking about it. So, eesh. They like to do that. They're like, yeah, we did this thing. You can't figure it out, but we did it. Well, it's a good place to end. More coming up later. Maybe tonight we'll jump back on. I need some time. I need some time to mess with it a little bit, but it's been fun. And we'll figure out more about the chord track and things as we go. But thanks for watching, everybody. Good luck. Maybe don't update unless you need to. Talk to you later.